One of the most common problems when creating a VLOOKUP formula is that your lookup information is to the left to the lookup key, lookup value. What does it mean in our scenario? If we would like to VLOOKUP Mrs. Alexandra and we need to select the array should start from the salesperson name because we are looking up this information now and can only go to the right. We cannot select it to the left, and although you try somehow to save this formula, it won't give you any result. How to solve this common problem? You need to select the whole column. You can use it to copy and paste it to the right. You can do it by using the shift button and the left mouse click, move the whole column to the right. This is one of the tricks that I discovered after 15 years of working in Excel. And then you are ready to create a VLOOKUP formula. So let's find something that is standing next to me. This is the first argument. Then the second argument is select the column that contains this name and all the columns to the right that I want to VLOOKUP. In this scenario, this is just the second column. Salesperson name is the first one, this is the second, so the third argument is 2, and range lookup always 0, don't bother with that. And we have the salesperson ID. Let's face now other common problems that you might face in the real life. The first one, we are preparing a VLOOKUP to look for the postcode and check what is the state in the second column, always with 0 at the end. And we hit OK. I can see that this postcode is there. It actually doesn't differ from the one that we have in the table, but still we get an error that can be read, not available. We didn't find this information. We have it on the left, but it's not available on the right. The problem in here is the space that you can find right after the postcode, and one of the secure ways to do the VLOOKUP formula is to use, for example, the trim formula to remove all of the unnecessary spaces, and then we can see that the VLOOKUP worked. You might face also the data type inconsistency problem, and if you try to VLOOKUP this number 1, which is actually a text because it's aligned to the left, in this table where we can see that the 1 is there as a strange postcode in the second column and with the last argument as 0, you once again will get an error. Why is that? Because in here it's a text and in here it's a number, and it's inconsistent for Excel. If we align both of the data types, for example, convert the text to number, the VLOOKUP will work. If you have a lot of columns in your table and you are looking up for a postcode, like in our case, you can always make a mistake with the third argument that says in which column would you like to find this information. When selecting the columns, you can always have a look on the small tooltip that appears on the screen next to your mouse cursor, because it will calculate for you number of columns and the column number that you need. And if you will add here too many columns, for example, then you once again will get an error, not available, but this time it's not that the postcode is not there, it's just we have created a VLOOKUP that is looking something in the third column, although I've selected just 2 columns as a table range. Error called unavailable might also appear in one of the strangest cases. When you VLOOKUP an information in the second column, everything is fine, and still, although you have this element in here, you get an error. Why is that? Because you just VLOOKUP an error, so the VLOOKUP formula will bring you the error too. One of the fancy pitfalls that you can fall into is that if you omit the fourth argument. Why is that? Because if you omit the fourth argument when VLOOKUPing the data, which means you just close the bracket or you forget to close it and you hit enter and Excel will close it by you. you actually insert a formula that instead of the last argument as 0 or false, takes the default as a true, which means we are looking for an approximate match. This means that you probably won't get the result you are looking for, since you need to arrange the data before you can VLOOKUP with the true formula. We will talk about this scenario later, but this is one of the common mistakes, so please make sure you always place 0 unless you know what you do. And the last common mistake is the one I already mentioned, which is if you look up an information and you don't select as the table array argument the whole columns, then you probably select just a range of cells. And if you don't block this formula, you would get the exact result on the first line, but then you might expect your data table going down. And this is once again the mistake. You can forget about it when you use whole columns like F until G, or you use a table object, but if you just use the cells, you need to remember about dollars. That will save your VLOOKUP and probably your career and your life.